Students, today we'll learn more about volume of distribution. For clinical pharmacist, each pharmacokinetic parameters are very important. Out of such parameter, one of the parameter is volume of distribution. And let us see how it is utilized by the clinical pharmacist during his practice. The objective of this the discussion will be learning about what is volume of distribution, what physiological parameters determine the volume of distribution, what are its clinical applications. We know that each pharmacokinetic parameter is a characteristic of a drug. So similarly, even the volume of distribution. Volume of distribution is also generally referred as apparent volume of distribution. It is one of the pharmacokinetic parameter, as I told you, and it expresses the pattern of the distribution from plasma to the other parts of the fluids of the body or tissues of the body. Since not all drugs are uniformly distributed, so each drug has its own volume of distribution. So this volume of distribution depends upon the characteristic of drugs that we'll discuss in the next slide. But let me define first what is volume of distribution. It is defined as the fluid volume that is required to contain the entire drug in the body at the same concentration measured in the plasma. So if you look at the formula, volume of distribution is the ratio of total amount of the body, so drug in the body, divided by the plasma concentration. So anytime if you want to know what is the total amount of the drug in the body, you have to multiply plasma concentration which you have measured by the volume of distribution, then you will come to know what is the total amount of the drug in the body. So this identifying the drug quantity in the body is very important during the clinical practice. Let us see in the next slide, I will explain that. For each drug, when it is given approval, its volume of distribution is also given or measured for each drug. See, you know that the average adult person has around 42 liters of body fluid in the body, which is distributed in the different body compartments. So physiologically, we divide all these the fluid into different compartments. One is intravascular, around 3.5 liters, interstitial fluid, around 10.5 liters, intracellular fluid, around 28 liters, and transcellular fluid, around 2% of the body mass. So generally, all these three, especially intravascular, interstitial fluids and intracellular fluid, around 42 liters. These are the different compartments we say. Let us see that if a drug has a free movement throughout the body, it doesn't have any barrier, then definitely the volume of distribution will be around the 35 to 40 liters. But it doesn't happen. Each drug has a different volume of distribution. So this volume of distribution depends upon, importantly, on 4 parameters. One is permeability across the tissue barrier, binding within the compartments, pH partition, fat water partition. In other words, we all know that lipid soluble drugs are easily able to cross the plasma membrane, so they have the free movement. But apart from this, there are what is called as a drug is able to bind to the various proteins either in the vascular compartment or in the other compartment, that is a tissue proteins, which holds the drug. So that's why it is not able to diffuse across the body uniformly. Another important parameter is, you know, that blood-brain barrier, which restricts the drug also to entry into the brain. That also determines the drug volume of distribution. In the next slide, I will show you that is different drugs which are having volume of distribution. Let us take the example of warfarin, which has a volume of distribution of 10 liter. What is the meaning of this? That means this drug is restricted to the plasma, because we know that it is highly plasma bound. About 99% of the drug is plasma bound, and that's why its volume of distribution is less than extracellular fluid. because most of the drug is confined to the plasma. Let's take the next example, gentamicin. Volume of distribution is 15 liters. So it means that the volume of distribution is almost equivalent to the extracellular fluid. Why? One is the drug is highly ionized but able to cross the vascular pores, but only restrict itself to the extracellular fluid, not able to go inside the cell. That's why its volume of distribution is almost equivalent to the extracellular fluid. But remember that it doesn't bind to the plasma protein. That's why it is able to cross from the vascular compartment to the extracellular compartment. Let us take next example, theophylline, which has a volume of distribution of 35 liters. See this, as I have mentioned, the around 35 to 40 liters is the body the volume body fluid content. So theophylline uniformly distribute throughout the body. Why? The reason is that it's highly lipid soluble, can cross all the plasma barriers easily. It doesn't bind to any proteins either in the plasma or in the tissues. That's why it is volume of distribution is equivalent to the body water. Let us take the digoxin. Volume of distribution is 500 liters. People may laugh also, that is so much volume of distribution. But definitely, because digoxin is highly bound to the sodium potassium ATPase enzyme in muscles, kidney and nerves tissue. So it is held in this tissue. That's why when you compare its concentration in the plasma, it's negligible compared to it's present in the other parts of the body, that is in the muscles, kidney and nervous tissue. That's why digoxin has very high long half-life. So in other words, volume of distribution also determines the half-life of drug. Let us see in clinical practice how you use this parameter. See, whenever you are doing a therapeutic drug monitoring, you need to know what should be the target dose and what should be the loading dose. So to identify this, you can use this formula, that is, you can use the amount of the drug in the body is equivalent to the volume of distribution multiplied with the concentration of the drug. By using any time, you can identify what is the target dose based on the volume of distribution. And next, when you are calculating the loading dose, if you know what is the concentration of amount of the drug in the body, then what amount drug need to be administered, you will come to know. So it's a very valuable information for the clinical pharmacist during the TDM practice. Another important application of VD, that is volume of distribution in clinical practice, is whenever you are treating a overdose induced toxicity, then you need to know how much drug is there in the body. Whether all the drug is removed from the body or is the drug is held somewhere in the body compartment. Because as we cannot identify the drug content in other body compartments, we can measure the drug content in the plasma. Based on the volume of distribution, we can calculate how much drug is there in the other parts of the or other compartments of the body. So based on that, we can calculate whether all the drug is removed from the body or not. Especially in case of the suicidal drug, which are known to be consumed for the suicidal tendency. In such cases, identifying the total amount of drug in the body becomes very important. So apart from this, volume of distribution is also important in the drug development process and in other process. But at this moment, for clinical pharmacist, please keep in mind that these two important applications are very useful during the pharmacy practice. I hope the things are clear to you. If you have any doubts, please contact me again. Thank you so much.